How do I start investing? This is a question that comes up a lot. People of all ages who've never invested before, they want to know the answer. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick but comprehensive way of starting your investing journey. Benjamin Franklin once said, "By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail." So that's why my advice generally here is going to be to use a checklist or use a framework. Basically come up with a plan and stick to it. A very high level plan that I think will make your investment journey start off in the best way possible. There's going to be 6 high level steps in the checklist that I give you here, and I think there's not much more you're going to need than what's in this checklist, but of course leave a comment below if you think I've missed anything. The first step is learn and read. We're going to go through this, but I think it's one of the most important steps here. You can watch videos, you can listen to me, but you're really not going to get the most out of investing and what you need unless you do your own reading and your own research. Make a plan and set goals. That's going to be the second step. I think that's pretty straightforward. We really need to do that. You can't just dive in. Choose a brokerage, of course. That's going to be the place where you're going to be able to place trades, and they're going to be the ones who are holding your investments. Fund the account. You're going to choose your investments, and then you're going to set a schedule that's going to keep you on track. All right, learn and read. Of course, as I said, this is one of the most important steps. You can watch videos, you can listen to podcasts, but the most important thing for your investing knowledge is your own reading. Just getting a basic understanding and then building on that. This is going to be the lifelong endeavor. You're not ever going to really stop learning when it comes to investing. Doesn't matter. As Warren Buffett says, he spends most of his day reading. So you're going to read as well to start and as you start investing. If you are going to read just one of the items that I have on this list, and there's more on my website, and of course there's more out there online, I would suggest a Wall Street Journal Guide to Understanding Money and Investing. It's a great resource. It's a paperback. You can kind of take it anywhere and just go through it at your own time. You don't have to do it in one reading, but I suggest you really absorb this book as much as you can and keep it with you as a reference. All right, make a plan and set goals. That's going to be our next step. Look, I want you to create a plan for your investing journey. You have a checklist. You can use the checklist from this video or on our website, or you can just make your own document. Use a notebook, Google or Microsoft Doc, a spreadsheet, a to-do app, just anywhere where you can record not only the steps, but the information that you've gathered. First thing you want to do is outline how much you can invest each month. This is important. If you've got a steady job or you're doing a side hustle, the question just is how much you can put in on a monthly basis. Use a budget if you can. I like the 50-30-20 as a place to start, but by coming up with a budget, you'll also have a place where you can record how much you want to invest every month. Second thing is you want to decide, third thing, once you've got a plan, once you know a document, once you have an outline of how much you want to invest each month, you want to decide how you want to invest. So are you going to be doing it actively, which is you're going to choose stocks one by one, do some research, or are you going to invest in index funds? Are you going to have a robo-advisor or some sort of advisor help you? This is really the step that's going to determine how you're going to be interacting with your investments on a recurring basis. And then set your goals. This is really important. I'll start with the last one, long-term goal, 10 plus years. You definitely want to have at minimum here on your plan, a retirement goal. How much you want saved for retirement, or at least, when you're going to retire, and then how many years of work you're going to have. So even if this is just a bullet point, you want to set up kind of your retirement goals. And then you can have short-term goals and medium-term goals, as you can see here. Some of them include maybe you want to save for a down payment, maybe you want to save for a car. Another thing, if you don't have anything particular you want to save for, maybe you just want to put at the end of, say, 3 years how much money you want to have saved or invested in your account. But you definitely want to have at least, again, a retirement goal that says something about how long you're going to be saving or investing until you retire. Next step is going to be to choose a brokerage. You want to research and compare different brokers. You want to put this in your plan. You want to look at fees, commissions for trades, and definitely the different investment types. Compare user interfaces, the mobile and the desktop application. Look at the websites where the brokers are. Maybe go to the applications and download them. You don't have to be a user to download the application and take a look at it. You also want to go to these websites and check on educational tools as well as the customer service ratings. So what do I mean by this? If you've downloaded the app or if you're on the website, you want to see what free educational tools they have. Click around in them, read them. Are there videos? Are there PDFs? Are there things that you can download for free? And see if you enjoy watching their videos or reading their blog posts, and you really understand where they're coming from. Also, you want to take a look at the customer service ratings, just reviews online. Take a look at a number of different sites that are rating the brokers, maybe even look at Reddit, and then write that down in your document that you're saving. You also, of course, want to look at the popular brokers. I just put a list here. This is not an exhaustive list. It's really about you taking your time, talking to some of your friends, talking to colleagues, and seeing what brokers they use, and then doing some research on your own. Again, put all of this in your document, compare and contrast, and then move on. You're going to need a list of things to set up your brokerage account. So this is a good time as any to get them together. You're going to probably need a government issued ID. You want to make sure that's valid. They may ask for social security numbers. They may ask for a financial information, employment information. Then, of course, you're going to need a bank account for funding. You want to get all this stuff together, at least understand what's needed as you move on through the process. Next thing you're going to do is open and fund your account. It's pretty straightforward, but hopefully you've chosen a broker by now, and then you want to open your account. Is it a retirement account or an individual brokerage account? This is something hopefully you've determined by now, and you can go ahead and open that account. You want to link your bank account at this point once you've opened your brokerage account. And if you have any problems with this, either call your bank or call the broker. I'm sure there'll be someone online or on a phone that can help you. But you definitely want to get this done securely. You want to set up your first transfer, and for this, I suggest you do a small amount, really $50 or $100, just to make sure that the link is set up and that you're not sending it to some random person somewhere across the globe. Just really start with a small transfer. Next step is to, of course, understand if you have any minimum balance. You may send over $50 or $100, but there's $1,000 requirement. So hopefully you've sussed all of this out in your planning, but make sure that you understand the minimum requirements. And of course, you could put this down in your checklist as well, so that when you're looking at the different banks the different brokers, that you get a chance to understand what their minimum requirement is. Now it's time to choose your investments, right? First thing to do is choose a mix of stocks, ETFs, or mutual funds based on your goals, right? This is something that you can do as part of the research, part of the learning process. But again, that's why we're going over the entire checklist now. But this is something you're going to do once you've opened your brokerage. You're going to choose your investments. Here we want to consider a broad index of a broad list of index funds, S&P 500, total market ETFs. What we're looking for here is to get really broad, to diversify. And the reason we're doing that is because I'm giving you the checklist to start your investing. I don't want you at this point to do anything too crazy or too complicated. Index funds are cheap, and they're going to give you access to a broad list of stocks. And you also want to check at this point, now that you have a broker, you want to look at the index funds, what it costs for trade, and what the load is, how much of the fees and the minimums are for each of these index funds. You also want to learn the basics of asset allocation and diversification at this point. It's really good to keep in mind, again, like we said before, that you're going to be constantly learning, constantly updating your information. But you want to choose your index funds and then learn about asset allocation and diversification. Another thing to keep in mind when you are making your investments, avoid chasing hot tips or investing in things you don't understand, right? You also keep in mind that you don't have to go right ahead and take all of your money that you put in your account and allocate it right away. You can do 25 to 50% at a time, do some research, allocate another 25 or 50%. Hopefully the cash that you have in the brokerage account is in a money market fund, which will at least earn you some minimal amount of interest, more than you're going to have in a savings account or just sitting it in cash. Now, next step and the last step, what we're going to do is we're going to set up automation and a review schedule, right? You want to set up from your bank account or from your paycheck, you want to be able to automatically make contributions weekly or monthly to your investment account. Also, you want to make sure that you reinvest dividends automatically. Configure this in your brokerage account. Every brokerage account is a little bit different, but when you get dividends from the stocks or the index funds or mutual funds that you hold, you want to reinvest them right away back into that same investment vehicle and not have them sit in cash in your account. So this is something you may want to configure in your account. If you're not sure how to do this, either look for support or look for documentation on how to do it. Set a reminder at this point to look at your portfolio every 6 to 12 months. Now, of course, you can do this every month or quarterly, but I really have this step here so that you get the idea that you don't want to be looking at your fund every day or every hour. It's gone up, it's gone down. That's really, really not a good idea. As they say, a watch pot never boils, right? If you're constantly taking the cover off that pot, you're never going to let the pressure build up and heat build up, and your water's never going to boil, right? And the reason I say that is you don't want to be looking at your account on a daily basis, especially if this is a retirement account. Take your time, read, learn. You can look at news every now and then, or news at the end of the day, or read the Wall Street Journal or other business papers to get an understanding of what's going on in the world. But you really want to use this time to read and learn about financial markets and investing, and not be looking at your account on a regular basis, or at least too much. Rebalance if your allocations drift far from your plan. Rebalancing is something you're going to learn about as you go through this your investing journey. We've got information on our website if you want to learn more about it, but rebalancing basically means if you have a plan to have 60% of your stocks, 60% of your portfolio in stocks and 40% in bonds, and all of a sudden after a couple of months, 3-6 months or a year, it gets out of balance. Let's say you've got 70% stocks and 30% bonds. You want to think about rebalancing that back to 60-40. That means selling some of those stocks and taking that cash and reinvesting it in bonds. Now, everyone has slightly different ideas on this process, so that's why I want you to start understanding about it now, read about it, and then think about doing it once a year or so. And then, of course, you want to update your goals if your incomes or priorities change, right? You have that document, use it, take it out every 6 months or a year and update it. But that's why, we talk about having this checklist and the plan kind of together. Last but not least, we have this checklist free for download on the website, simpleinvest.markets. You can get a lot of information here for new investors, but also if you just want to get the checklist for free, you don't have to put down your email or anything like that. We've got PDF version of it, a Word version, and a Google Doc that you can use. You can use the checklist and actually just start filling out information as you learn it right in that checklist, or you can just use it as a reference. But I really stress that you don't try to do this just off the top of your head. Take a time, take the list, make a plan, and then go through it. It can take you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months before you actually go through this whole process. There's nothing wrong with that. The more you learn, the more you understand, the better it's going to be over the long term. All right, that's all we have. Again, leave comments or questions below, or go to our website and leave comments or questions there.